Vinny. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Uh,
Besides dying from the smoke.
yeah, with this wild smoke, I'm telling you, I feel really bad for anybody closer and in Canada because it's bad in Maryland, and yeah, we haven't been able to take the residents outside at all. Like we
Mm,
have to keep them inside because a lot of them have, you know, heart
respiratory.
issues and respiratory issues, and so they can't even sit out on the porch, which is like
Oh,
the thing. They love their rockers on the porch, so we've had to keep everyone in. They couldn't take their scenic drive because
oh.
they just didn't want to like load them on to the bus. So you guys are gonna have to bear with me on trying to keep the facts straight because I feel a little delusional. um,
He's got the fog.
I've got really, it is like the fog. Um, but first of all, today this is a bad man. I I mean, we're following John Wayne Gacy as far as our actual case, and I don't know, this guy's a bigger creeper to me in some way.
I think he's worse than John Wayne Gacy. He's got to
Uh,
be one of the worst as far as a person,
yeah,
not just
he's
because
a
of his crimes, but as a person.
terrible person. Like nothing redeemable. Did nothing redeemable in his whole life. At least John Wayne Gacy was trying to be like a businessman, as we had to hear over and over. Whereas Arthur Shawcross, if you guys haven't heard of him. This guy, not anything redeeming whatsoever.
Mm.
And we should probably give a shout out to Missy because Missy recommended this case. So thank you, Missy. You scarred me for a while. I appreciate it. Um,
I remember seeing some of the stuff, but and the name kept ringing a bell, but until I looked it up and then pieced it all together, and plus there was some of the early stuff he did that I did not recall at all. Maybe it was so bad that I just blocked it out, but
oh, well, the
oh
fact
my
that it
god,
was so bad and the man got out of prison.
that
I am
that's
just
what's in his
un
childhood, the stuff he did as a kid, it was just
uh,
like, oh my god.
yes.
Mm,
So just a heads up for those watching that we are going to talk about
some pretty sick shit.
yeah, I mean there's no other way to put it. We're gonna have I think he touched on any possible bad thing you can do. So
Yeah.
we have bestiality.
Bring
We
in the
have
animals, bring in the children,
and
bring in
yes,
the women.
yes, all
We
of
got it
them.
all.
And on top of that, let's see, he had some I don't think that the cannibalism was actually well, no, I guess there was later, but I think his first tales of cannibalism were not true.
Oh, and the war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
considering
you got the cannibalism maybe, then you also got, is it called evisceration when you cut
mhm,
from here? We got that, we got beheading. We got it all, man. We got
we got it
all
all.
the
So,
deadly sins.
and Missy actually told me about this and said that she remembers we'll have to have Missy jump in the comments, but remembers when people found out because, of course, they were not letting their children out to play. So this definitely ties into stranger danger. This set off major stranger danger in, was it Watertown, New York?
Yeah, she was telling me earlier today that she lived like right next door to, I think, his niece and nephews or something, and that her mom remembered seeing it on the television when it was going on. So, ooh, that was close.
If, and and it could have ended right there, which it really should have
Could have
ended,
ended right there.
but it did not. It did not. So we're going to introduce you to Arthur Shawcross, the is it Genesee River Killer. Uh, yeah, he's a downer.
I
So
kept hearing Genesee, and my brain kept thinking Tennessee, and I'm like, why is the Tennessee River in New York?
well, and I kept thinking of Genesee Cream Ale. I think it's a type of beer. I think it's a type of beer, but every time I'd be like Genesee Cream Ale. I've never had it. I don't know what it is, but I've heard the name. Um, but yeah, he's not in Tennessee. He's in New York. And we'll go start it. We'll go to his childhood. I don't think it's any shock. Arthur was a weird ass kid. uh he had all kinds of issues as far as when he was born, his mother noticed that he had no emotion at all, even as a small child. And that, I guess it was he must have been the oldest because there were ones born after, and that's sort of when she put together, okay, my kid really is weird because my other children have like normal behavior patterns. Now they don't give any explanation, I don't think, as to why, like if there was like oxygen deprivation or
Everybody thought he was weird all through his childhood. People thought he was an odd duck.
well, his nickname became Audie.
Oh, that's right. It was odd.
So he was Audie. So I guess if there's any time you can feel bad for him, and I don't, and it's going to be just like a fraction of a second, you're going to feel bad. So he desperately wanted his mother's attention, but he couldn't. He didn't display anything normal and made her uncomfortable. So she had a hard time bonding with him, which probably didn't do him any favors. But I don't think anybody needs to take their lack of their mother's attention to this extreme of what you're going to do in your future. But he was actually born, I think I have when he was born. Oh, I did like he was born in Kittery, Maine.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep, and June 6th, 1945. And yep, I don't think they stayed in Kittery for very long, so yay, he left Maine.
Now,
Mainers.
did you see? Because I watched so many different documentaries about him, but did you see the accusations he had about his mom and his aunt?
Yes. Yes.
Now, some people say that's not collaborated, but how can you? You know, who's to say? Because they did say that he was just an absolute liar. He lied about so much stuff. He just embellished everything. So it's kind of hard to tell
Yes.
if that
So
was true.
Arthur claimed, once caught, I believe, that his mother had, I guess, if we're going to monetize at some point, we have to start saying SA.
As they
SA'd him.
and
His
his
aunt
aunt
did.
too. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like,
But he was a compulsive liar from a very young age. So it's really hard to know. And frankly, I think his mother was trying so hard not to deal with him that wouldn't have even been like what? Like
yeah, it's like, did she even notice? And then there was another thing where I don't know if it was just him or if it was collaborated, but where he had been assaulted as a young boy from a man when he was like fishing as well. And that's kind of how the one that he did later
mm-hmm.
came about. But again, I don't know if that was just him telling a story
Yeah.
to try to justify it because he didn't want to talk about the kids.
No, which to me very much states that he knows that was an absolutely unforgivable act. All of them were, but these children were horrific. So he does claim this abusive childhood, which nobody can really prove either way. The mother denies it heavily, and from what I was seeing, seemed very confused why he would even be saying that. So even her confusion seemed like, I just think that that was so beyond the realm of anything she would have done that she couldn't even. But you never know. We don't know. So
Well, plus there's a good chance he was just trying to justify why he was a sicko and trying to blame somebody else.
mm-hmm.
Like
And I
say
think
that his mother did this, his aunt
right.
did this, and that some man did this to him. That's why he turned around and did something. So it might just be his brain was trying to make himself out to be a victim instead of a sicko.
Right, right. But it is verified that he was severely bullied.
Oh yeah.
But but uh and I don't think this is horribly uncommon. He chose to then bully younger children himself because he was bullied. So I guess, I mean, but that's not like you see that. But he was very sadistic in how he bullied them, in that he wanted them to cry. That was the goal he was going for. Is he felt good if he could get them crying. So not a great, not a great guy. His dad, why do I feel like his dad was kind of a non-entity? I guess I
I
don't.
don't remember hearing anything about his dad.
Yeah, so I almost feel like he didn't play much role. Um, am I getting this right? I think in one of the documentaries he was 17 in the eighth grade.
I have no idea. I'm
And
terrible.
he stayed back multiple times. I don't know at what point when you stayed back this long and you are now in a virtually an adult and you're in eighth grade that you're not like school's not for me. I clearly don't got it. So we have that going for him. He's
Well, I
not.
know they said he was a big kid in his class, so I'm guessing that's why, because he was pretty
Yes,
much a man and he was with all these kids.
which was not where this guy needed to be.
No, no, not
He
around.
did.
He didn't need to be around anyone that was weaker than him.
And that's exactly it. He also had a thing for, so he had imaginary friends because he didn't have friends. So, and he talked baby talk. That was one
Oh
of the things
yeah,
that
yeah.
his mother actually, I think, brought him to somebody trying to figure out why he was still talking baby talk. Like, I mean, he
He
was
tried
doing
to
it
get his
old.
mother's attention. If he
He
had
was.
siblings,
Hmm.
he wanted to be a bit. Now, when did he start messing with the animals?
Well, uh,
Well, I guess it was obviously around puberty time.
yeah, because he worked for a farmer, right?
I
But
believe
see,
so.
again, you don't know. The only reason I think there's some truth to the farm stories is because of what he does to the girl, the little girl. But he claims that there was a farmer who taught him uh, ways to have relations with animals.
Relations. That is so bad. It's like, oh my God.
Specifically, sheep and chickens.
But he was also torturing the animals and killing
Hmm.
them. He wanted them to hurt. That was his goal. He got
Yeah,
satisfaction
actually,
as well from hurting them.
and not and if you don't want animal abuse, nobody does want animal abuse. But if you're soft-hearted like me, you might want to skip ahead a little bit. But one of the things he would do is trap small animals, and he would just smash them with hammers.
Hmm.
Like that's just anger that is like
I
out of.
can't understand that. I mean, obviously, this is the mildest thing I've ever seen, and I was in such shock and horror. I had went to pick up something I'd got from Craigslist years ago. Nice, big, beautiful home. They were giving something away. I go to pick it up. I get out of the car. There's these little boys running around. They're like anywhere from 6 to 8 years old. And I look down and there's this cute little toad. You know how I love toads. There's toads everywhere. It was just little. He walked over and stomped it. And I swear I just about had a heart attack. And the mom's just standing there. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, he just, she was just like, whatever, oh, we get those everywhere. They're always here. And I just was like, oh my God, you're teaching your kid to
That.
just kill a little toad?
Yeah,
That's
that's
so messed.
well, it's funny you say that because we had a major saga here, Emily and I. So the probably about a week ago, I get it. Emily's in the our downstairs bathroom and I get a text that says there is a little toad in our bathroom. So basically she comes out and she's like, come here there. And she said it was just like tiny little toad. And but Edgar, her Boston, was in the bathroom with her and it scared him. So he went under this thing in the bathroom. Well, there's a vent under the thing he went under. So when she moved the thing, of course, we couldn't find him. So she's laying on the floor with her phone camera on, putting it down the vent, and he is in the vent. But of course, she's flashing a light down there, so he's going further into the vent. So we had no way, we couldn't get to him. So now somewhere we've been lamenting that there's this little toad just probably dried out and gone in
Oh,
our vents. But we tried really hard to get him out. And also, I need to have my vents cleaned because when she put that camera down there, I'm like, this is appalling in there. It's like, what's going on in there? But anyway, that was our toad story recently. So,
we walked out of the apartment today to go pick up some mail, and there's babies little tiny there, and it was so funny because the kid likes to count them, and he was just like, oh my god, there's toadettes. And he's just like, there's one. I think we saw like seven. I was like, it's like a plague of toads. It's so great. but
Toadette.
but yeah, they were toadettes.
That's funny.
But just the thought of him doing that to these animals, and it's just like, how can anyone get any satisfaction out of doing such a thing? I mean, it's just repulsive.
Well, and then getting satisfaction out of how do you put it? Having I can't think of anything else but relations with farm animals and a chicken. A
A
chicken.
chicken.
That-
I mean, oh
that's
my god, a chicken.
and according to him, and this does factor in later, he claimed that the farmer told them that you stuff their mouths with like mud and hay and stuff so it keeps
Oh, that's why he did that
down.
to that little girl.
So I think that a lot of his stories they've never been able to prove that they actually happen. We'll get to the military right away.
Yeah, that was a doozy.
Well, and he so yeah, I think that one might be true because that comes back. But so yes, he's doing lots of charming things. Animals need to live in fear. But oh, his imaginary friends, because he had no friends. So he had created a boy about his age and a girl, I believe, that was older, but they were both blonde. That also factors in. He is in eighth grade at 17, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's. And finally, he gets the hint that
Time to go,
he,
buddy.
yeah, he's probably not going to graduate. So interestingly, you can still go in the military.
Oh
Actually, I
yeah,
think,
they'll take anybody pretty much.
although, was he drafted to Vietnam? I didn't hear that. I think he actually went in the
I think
military and
he
agreed.
volunteered.
Yeah.
So you know right
So,
there he wasn't real smart if he volunteered to go to Vietnam.
right, right. Well, and then according to him, which he loved to share his stories of his PTSD and what he went through. According to him, he was a special operations or special it wasn't special forces, but he was like a something with weapons. So he claimed that he liked to go on these night missions where he would kill the Viet Cong or whatever. And he claimed, so this is one of his claims, which he very he seemed to share with anybody who would listen to this story. And that
He was
alone
pretty proud of it.
it's not going to make you friends. I'm
No,
sorry, it's not going to make you friends. So
made him feel tough though.
it did make him feel tough. He claims that he went out into the jungle and he saw two Vietnamese women hiding guns in like a tree stump. And so he attacked the first one with a machete, I believe, is what he claims. And he tied up the other one to watch him basically kill and torture the one, which he then claimed that he cut her thigh and ate it.
Is it her thigh or her arm?
Not sure.
It was something at the. It was either like the whole arm or the whole leg or
Yeah,
something.
he claimed that he was out there starting up a fire and which
Grilled it
also
right up.
yeah, and making the other woman watch and then he ultimately killed her. I don't know if he essay I think he did it right. He
Oh, I'm
essay
sure he did. He does.
yeah.
If he's gonna do chickens, he's gonna.
But here's the that's true. But here's the thing. When we get into his when he gets arrested, they go into his past and all these claims. He was not any sort of special, he wasn't weapons or anything. He was a clerk. He never saw any action according to now interestingly, and I think this was in the interview with Pierce Morgan, uh he couldn't remember anybody he served with at all. He didn't have a single name of anybody he served with, which tells me that they stuck him somewhere because he was so dang weird and nobody there wanted anything to do with him because
Well, plus the kind of clerk he was from, I forget exact what the term was, but he basically was just in charge of inventory, keeping up with like how much food was here and how much, where things were. And he was just doing the books, basically. I mean, they shouldn't have picked him to do the books if he didn't make it past the eighth grade, but I guess he could count. So that's all that mattered. How many potatoes, how many bags of potatoes. He was not in combat. But then he had said that, when he got back, like that night or the next day, he went and told his commanding officer what he had done, and his commanding officer supposedly told him he was a sick MF and laughed. They both laughed about it. I'm like,
Yeah, and,
really?
basically told him, but he appreciated him right now or something.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, really? That's what he said?
But that is obviously one of his many, many lies that he enjoys telling. Um,
A little too much detail there to be true.
right, right. Especially when we get into his actual murders, which he gives no details really.
Mm-mm.
Like it's almost like he had had time to create that fantasy in his head, and so he could go into great detail. But because his killings, I mean, he was acting. It's almost like he had fits of rage. It would seem that would set it off. So it was all very quick, and there was really nothing. He didn't really know, but he always found a way to blame them. It was always them. I think
Or
that literally everybody was in his mind was like self defense. They had wronged him, and
they
um.
deserved it. They all deserved it.
But here's the really weird part. I mean, I don't know how you. This is the weird part in the sort of what he manages to get married, but he doesn't only manage to get married once. I believe it's three times.
3 times,
Who
exactly.
are these women who married this dude? Like, he has no emotion. He talks baby talk. He lies. He has amorous feelings for farm animals.
He's working at a freaking cheese factory, although that could be beneficial.
I do
Friends
enjoy
with
cheese.
benefits having working at a
That's
cheese.
the only benefit he offers.
Yeah, the only thing good, he worked at a cheese factory.
But, and have you heard of the McDonald triad? They've kind of debunked it now, but
Mm.
it was a theory, obviously by somebody named McDonald, who said that there were three things that commonly occurred with serial killers.
Mm.
One of them was bedwetting, which apparently he bedwet. I mean, he was baby talking, he was having issues, but he also wet the bed very late into adulthood. He animals, so abusive
That's a big
animals.
one.
And the third one is setting fires, which he now has decided he enjoys setting fires too, because he hasn't done enough bad stuff. He's just gotta like, so he's setting fires. So he actually, I believe, okay, so even before we get to the really bad next step, he did serve time for arson in Attica.
That's probably why he was wetting the bed. Everyone knows fire makes you wet the bed.
Well, um now interestingly, he there was a prison riot. Did you hear this part? There was a prison riot while he was there in Attica, and he did actually save a correctional officer, like help the correctional officer
Probably
from
an accident.
maybe he was probably just dumb and confused and didn't know what he was doing, um but anyway, because he did that, he was allowed early release.
Oh,
um
that's from when he after he because of the arson.
yes, so he helped the correctional officer, the probation board, or what do you call it? Yeah, they decided that they should, but he had a psych evaluation before he left, and
Mhm.
the psychiatrist said that he needed extensive therapy, he needed to be monitored, and he had the potential, I believe the exact quote was, for homicidal arson.
Yeah.
So they
Oh,
thought that at that point they believed he could kill somebody in a fire. And this therapist or this psychiatrist um wrote this all up. Yeah, no, never got any therapy. Nobody followed up with him. got no help, but now he's a free man and he's married. They didn't even give me in my, I always print out an outline to sort of refer to. They didn't even bother putting in the wives' names because they're like, they're crazy. Why would they marry this man? I know the last wife is Rosemary, I believe. I
No,
think the
he
first
had.
one,
I know he had a daughter, but I don't know who he had a daughter with.
well, he also had an illegitimate daughter
Did
with
he?
an affair in Hawaii.
Apparently, he had a lot of affairs, and that's the other thing. How? I mean, I know he was visiting prostitutes, but how is he having affairs as
He
well?
was having legit affairs.
Yeah,
He had these women marrying him, and he was having an affair.
he really wasn't on that. And then
Mm-mm.
as he got, the older he got, the worse not all there he was. He really
And
was a
so
hooker.
weird. If you guys get a chance, look him up. He's such a weird looking old dude. Like he's, uh, and then you add no emotion, not very bright.
Oh, and he's got the weirdest. I don't know if he always had those facial tics, but I don't know if
It's
you
just,
saw that. Oh my God, he just could not stop when he would try to explain something. The blinking and twitching was just, it was so distracting. It was really hard to watch him. It was just like, he is just unraveling so.
all, all I can say is, ladies, you can do better. If you think maybe you're settling, you are. You can do better. Because who the heck was wanting to have an affair? And I mean, he couldn't have been an interesting conversation. He was a creep.
Yeah, what
So
was he talking about?
I have no. Well, did probably his Vietnam story 800 times. So what's wrong with these women?
He probably made up a lot of stories. I bet he probably made up stories about rescuing people in the cheese factory. So he gave them cheese. He told them stories. It didn't matter that his chin had just sunken into his neck over time. None of that mattered.
The cheese probably didn't help that either.
Probably it was the cheese.
But so now we get to 1972. So now he's out completely unmonitored, even though a psychiatrist has said this man could do damage. Now, I don't think they thought it was what it was going to be, but they already knew he wasn't right. He's not right in the head.
Now, see,
Um,
this is the thing that always confused me about serial killers, the ones that were like pathological liars, because they would do horrendous crimes. Yet it was like that wasn't enough. They would then make up these crazy stories so you didn't know what to believe. And if it wasn't for the fact that you found the body, you've got the DNA in certain cases, you know they did that. You wouldn't
mhm,
believe it because they're so full of crap with all their stories,
mhm,
but they actually do some of the stuff. So,
mhm,
how do you tell what's true and what's not true?
mhm. Well, and again, all of this is really, well, I guess some of this is confirmed by law enforcement, but a lot of this is told uh, by him. Not that I think that, I honestly, I think when he can't talk about something or doesn't give much detail, that's probably the truth.
The truth. Yep.
Um, but so now he's out. He's married. Can't remember. I know one was named Penny. I can't remember what the other ones. Anyway, he's, I believe at this point, 1972, is working in the cheese factory. Or he also worked at a grocery store that apparently he would tell anybody who would listen there to these horrific stories of his time in Vietnam and
He was
whatever.
probably having relationships with the vegetables by that time.
Well,
I don't know.
I think at the grocery when he worked at the grocery store, he found one of his long-term affairs there. I mean, maybe he was hooking her up with some free groceries. I don't know, but
Bribing
I,
her with food.
I don't know. Actually, it might not have been at this time because he was still young. At this point, he looked sort of normal.
Sort
Like,
of. Yeah, he hadn't quite sunken into his body yet.
mm-hmm. So in 1972, he's married. He's living in Watertown, New York. The thing that people talk about is he is strange. He rides, they found it strange because he rode a woman's bike with a white basket.
I didn't know that.
Everybody noticed him around town because he was always riding this woman's bike with a big white basket on the front of it, which in my mind he was bicycling away to the sound of the wizard.
Yeah.
Anyway, um one of his hobbies now is he likes to go fishing. So he goes fishing all the time. And I think if it was the Black River, Missy, can you confirm any of that? I think that was the Black River. So he hasn't made it to the Genesee River yet. And so he liked to go, and at this point he's not really an old man. I mean, he's sort of normal looking, and so he likes to talk to the kids that are also fishing. And he befriends Peter and Jack Blake. I believe Peter was 8 and Jack was 10. It's noted that they were blonde, which he had his thing for blonde children. And he actually, I don't know if you heard this part, but he actually like would hang out and show them like nudie pictures and tell them about
No.
Vietnam, but they they liked him, and so he had actually gone to the parents' house to ask if he could fish with them, and basically the mother was like, no, no, you cannot fish with my children. And so he was already on their radar for like being
Weirdo.
kind of a weird.
Creepo.
But the kids thought, they're 8 and 10. They think he's like this cool guy who's, whatever, treating them like they're older
Yeah,
by
I mean, he might have had snacks too. I mean, who knows? It doesn't take much to
jeez.
make a kid happy. I mean, plus, if they didn't have like a dad that went fishing with them and they've got this father figure, maybe giving them snacks and teaching them tips on fishing, I can
Right.
see why they would want to hang out and go fishing with him.
I
They
mean,
might not have thought he was weird.
was string cheese a thing? Because
Uh,
a lot of people will do stuff for string cheese.
hey, I got cheese. That's going to be the theme of our thing today. It was the cheese.
It was the cheese. So he even though he made the big pretense of going to ask if he could hang out with the children and make it look legit, of course he didn't stop hanging out with them. So one day they're out, and he somehow he splits them up. I don't know if Peter, the younger one, was going to meet another friend, but somehow Jack
Yeah, I
got.
know he was just fishing with Jack that day, but I don't
And
know
Peter
about.
was there, but he left with a friend or something. So now we have poor Jack back here, only 10 years old.
I didn't get much info from the stuff I had watched, plus the interview with him. He absolutely refused to talk about the kids, so I
No,
don't know
he would not
about.
talk about them. I know that they know he lured him away somehow from the river, and he essayed him.
Well, he made him take off his clothes.
Mhm.
Then he essayed him, and I do know that the boy got obviously terrified and tried to run away. I'm
Mhm.
sure that really pissed him off because he
Mhm.
went after that boy and
Mhm.
caught him. I kind of wonder
Sorry,
if he
what
would have
am
let the boy live or not, but I doubt it. I don't know.
I doubt it because the mother was already aware. I mean, if
Well, he might have thought maybe he could threaten the kid, but he got angry, and that's
Mhm.
what made him
Well,
kill the
and
boy.
that does seem to be, as we go further in, a theme, as something angers him, and it's almost like he just sort of
Yeah.
wigs out. And, but unfortunately, it doesn't take much to make him mad. So,
No, it does not. Just a little
um,
bit of pushback, and this kid took off running scared, and that really made him mad. Plus,
right,
he had to exert himself and chase the kid in the woods, and that made him even madder because he said he was like sweating really bad.
yeah. So he, he strangled him. So he assaulted him and then strangled him, and he left him in the woods. Well, the mother, when he doesn't come home, and I guess his mom was like a no nonsense. They said she was all of like 5 feet tall, but she was like, she did not play. She had 9 children, so she was gonna like, she was a loving mother, but man, she was a pistol. She was gonna like, so she threw right out there that she thought that he might be involved somehow, but they had nothing. I mean, he did say that he saw them at the river, but that they left to go to a friend's house or something. And I don't know how. I mean, I would assume Peter, the younger one, might have verified that Jack stayed behind, but
Well, he had at that time he had no record of hurting anybody that they knew.
right,
So
right.
it's not like he would have been suspicious, especially if being a sociopath, which I'm sure he was, he just played it off like, yeah, I saw the kid. Whatever, I'm sure he didn't act the least bit emotional about it because he
Well,
had
and
no emotion. So,
right, right. They'd already said that he was. Um, so that happened May 7th. So he's back to fishing. Nobody's caught him in anything. At this point, I don't believe they've even found the body of Jack. So this poor family doesn't even have any answers. He's fishing again and he sees Karen Hill. And I believe he talks about how she was on a bridge over like the river and he saw her up there and she had blonde hair. The sad part was she wasn't even from Watertown. She was visiting family for Labor Day weekend.
yeah, she was just
And
on holiday.
so she was just in a wrong place at the wrong time, but he called her over to show her something about his fishing or whatever. And again, he essayed her, strangled. And this time he hid the body in, I believe, a drain.
Yeah, it was like
Like a storm drain.
weird drainage that was like between some kind of like bridges and a weird waterway. I know up there they've got some really unusual concrete waterway systems and it was
Yeah.
wedged or something.
Um, but they find her relatively quickly. He didn't do a great. He did put her in the drainage pipe, and he did put like a cement block on,
Yeah,
like
she had
the.
a block on her, but they went looking for her immediately.
Mhm.
Because
And
even when
her.
they first saw her, they saw the feet and then they said she was cold to the touch. So they were not expecting to find her dead. They were just like, but they did think maybe she fell in the water or something. But then when they saw
Well,
her,
and then
weighted down.
well, and also it got a little more obvious that this was not something because uh they found that that there was mud and leaves shoved in her mouth to keep her quiet. So now we go back to the farmer who taught him his tricks for sheep loving.
Tell me this. Did he fill the chicken's mouth
I
with mud?
I see this. I can't. You know what? This is one of those moments where I can't wrap my mind around how this goes down with a chicken, and I'm good. I'm good with that. I don't need to understand how that
I don't
works.
want that visual, but I do find it amusing to try to figure out how you shut a chicken up by filling his mouth with dirt and mud, grass. Eat this chicken. Even a sheep. I mean, you know, I don't even want to think about. I don't want to visualize that. I've got to go to
No,
sleep tonight.
no. But although the levity about the sheep and the chickens, even though I feel terrible for them too, is a lot easier to deal with than this poor
Oh,
little girl who was,
yeah, we're
by the
certainly
way.
not laughing at that. It's just
No,
like,
no, I think we needed, like I said, we needed that moment of levity. Like, okay, well, the chickens. But she was only 8 years old and they immediately focused. Now they're thinking, And one of the reasons they did focus on him was that bike. Because kids said that they saw a man with a weird bike that
girly
didn't
bike.
a girly bike. I mean, it sounds weird to say it was a girly bike, but it probably looked extra weird with him. No emotion, biking away on his. Yep, Miss Gulch. Wasn't that her name?
Yeah.
Miss Gulch. Um. So they also go back to saying, maybe there's something about the Jack Blake. So I think they have found the body of Jack Blake. it was like several months later they found the body. So I don't know. I can't quite remember the timeline of when Karen happened and when they found Jack. But I think maybe they found Jack while he was already being under investigation for Karen. And
I think so. I think, but I don't remember why. Besides the bike, is that the only thing that they had connecting him to the little girl?
well, there were kids who said that they saw her go off with him and
Okay.
identified him. And, um, but I do know that when he gets to trial, basically he gets a deal that he's only going to be charged for manslaughter. Now, manslaughter of that little girl, we already know what, like, I don't think they had any doubt that about her. They still didn't know 100% about Jack, but they made a deal with him that if he told them where if he told them, I think maybe he did tell them where the body was.
Yeah, I think it was like they offered him a plea deal of 15 years of manslaughter for the little girl if that he would just give up the information about the boy. He wouldn't be charged with murder. And the town went crazy
Crazy.
for
Well, and
obvious reasons.
he did actually get 25 years.
Did he? I thought he got
Yeah.
15.
No, he only served 14.
Oh, yeah, he got out
He got out.
on parole.
So, on parole. But he did get sentenced to 25 years. Now, again, how did that not go to life in prison right off the bat? Like, why would they make that deal? I don't understand. Like,
They could have held out. I mean, there was no reason to rush that. They could have kept him there for the little girl, charged him for murder. He would have been there for life, and then pursued the one about the boy. But it was like they were trying to just push it through so they could find the boy.
mm-hmm.
And the
Yeah, it
parents
was,
certainly weren't in on it.
I mean, it's crazy. So he only serves 14 years. He gets out of prison.
Soon as
Uh,
he's out on parole, it's like the same year.
well, but I think it's interesting to note that he went back, I believe, to Watertown. He couldn't stay there. Like, they drove him out. So then they sent him to another city. I'm drawing a blank and I don't have it written down here. They sent him to,
Rochester, wasn't it?
it was, well, he ends up in Rochester, but they sent him somewhere else. But again, they let them know that there was a child killer. So the community went crazy and the police were harassing him. So then they had to move him again, and they move him to Rochester. And this time they don't tell the police or anything what he had done because he's
Let
being,
him loose.
yes, within 1 year he's back to killing. So now he's in Rochester. He's married again. um
I'll never understand that. I see, and I have known so many people that are not what anyone would think is marriage material, and they just somehow just continue getting married. And then you've got these people that are just absolutely wonderful, and all they want is to get married and settle down, and they can't find a partner. And it's like, take one of theirs. They've got like 12.
Isn't that wild? And you do see that, and you see that in crime. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched there's a show called Deadly Women, which I love.
Deadliest. I think I've seen some of those.
Well, they'll talk about how like this Black Widow woman has like married like 13 times.
Oh yeah,
here, and she looks like somebody's frumpy grandma who's like portly and you're like, this person got married like 14 times and killed 14 husbands. And usually, and the thing is with the Black Widows, they're usually picking somebody who's gonna then get them to a better situation. So somehow they're landing guys with money, and I'm like, I don't get it. I mean, I don't know if any of you remember, they used to show them all the time when we only had our 3 channels, and Ma and Pa Kettle. Do you ever remember those movies? Literally, one of the Black Widow women looked like Ma Kettle.
Yeah, there was one, I forget. It was back when they would put the Lonely Hearts ads in the newspaper.
Yes, it
And she
was
had like a
her.
farm. She looked like her body was the shape of a mattress. I mean, it was like the shoulders, the whole. She just kept bringing in the men.
It,
It's like,
well, apparently Arthur Shawcross has tapped into something that these women had because he keeps landing wives. And by all accounts, I mean, it seems like this third wife was also quite nice. It wasn't like, I mean, but no, he's not happy with his nice wife. He's having an affair. He's having affairs. And he's discovered something he really likes in Rochester, the red light district.
yeah. Now,
He's
one thing I might have gotten the timeline mixed up. The first woman that he killed, wasn't that the one that actually was like a lived in their apartment? He claimed that he actually knew her. I don't know if they. I think he was having an affair with her as well, but he claimed that she was stealing stuff from him and his wife, and that she deserved it. That he killed her. He was really angry. That's the one that he had decapitated, and then I don't know if he went back and eviscerated her. If that was the same one, I just know he was really angry at
I
her.
can't I'm looking and there were two Dorothys. I think it was a Dorothy, and there was the one that he apparently she didn't have any place to live and he kind of just brought her home, which by the way, in Rochester, he's sort of started this thing where he's being helpful to people and trying to act like he's a really good guy.
He lived in a
Uh,
nice house. I liked his look at his apartment building. It was kind of cool looking. I was like, well, that's a nice place.
well, and he also was a regular at Dunkin' Donuts, so he was
Yeah, where the cops hung out.
where the cops hung out. So he was like ingratiating himself to the cops. But anyway, so yeah, I don't even think his wife thought it was strange when he brought home this woman because he was always helping people and she was down on her luck and they were paying her to clean. He was also having an affair with her. But yes, he he that wasn't the one he beheaded. He beheaded one who the beheaded gal was I don't remember her name, but she was someone that he also was having some
Oh,
kind of
wasn't she the one they said that she was kind of mentally slow? They
yes.
had gone like to the lake and spent the day in a park or something, and he said that
Mhm.
they were like making out on and off throughout the day, just kind of walking around, and then I guess he claimed that all of a sudden she flipped out on him and
Mhm.
she was going to start screaming and telling people he was, trying to SA her. And that really made him angry because he was like, supposedly it was all consensual because they'd been seeing each other. And then
Yep.
that's the one I think he went back and did some stuff too because,
Well, and we kind of jumped ahead, but he in the middle marriage, he had abused her too, in that he was not good to her. He'd snap on her, and she was pregnant, and he snapped and caused her to lose the baby.
I didn't know
And
anything about his relationships with his wives.
yeah, so the middle wife that happened with, and she very wisely got out of there at that point. Again, that was sort of his MO. Like something relatively small would happen and he'd snap and become violent. And that's kind of what she validated, that he would just snap.
And
So,
yeah, he would blame it on the other women.
but
Like,
yeah.
she snapped or she was stealing from us. And, he had to take care of that.
Well, in that one interview you had recommended, the Piers Morgan one, he when he talks about Dorothy, pretty sure it was Dorothy who lived in the house, and he thought she was stealing. And Piers is like, so that was a valid reason to kill her, and he's like, well, I think so. And it's like everything was always a valid reason to kill somebody.
Of course.
Uh, you couldn't just like be mad and leave. You had to kill them.
Now, where was he working at that time? Do we know? I'm sure it wasn't a cheese factory.
That might have been the grocery store.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's what I remember. It was
Because he also had Clara or somebody, Claudia, I don't know, I think it was Clara, who he was having the actual affair with too during that time. So that was probably the grocery store.
Yeah, he was
Time.
asked about his affairs, and he was like, "Well, let's just say I lived." I was like, "You were frequenting prostitutes,
But
whatever."
but he was also quickly figuring out, as they sadly serial killers of the 70s and 80s and later, I'm sure, figured out these were women who nobody missed right away. Uh, so he he actually when he gets to Rochester, he actually, so I would say that Dottie Blackburn was the one who lived with them and cleaned and then stole stuff and had to die. And then he killed Anna Steffen, who I think that was the first time he picked up a sex worker. I think Anna was a sex worker, although there was somebody in there, I believe, who wasn't. Like he thought, I might
Yeah,
be.
there was one that they said was not a sex worker, but I do know that the police were saying that he didn't. They never knew who, they couldn't figure it out because why were the prostitutes going with men when they've all been warned? But it was obviously 90% of the time they would come back alive, but one of them might make him angry and then they wouldn't come back. So they
Mhm.
knew him, he was a regular. So they trusted him as not being one of these weird, well,
Yep. Yep. And so he starts he actually had, between those first two victims, he actually, at least it's not confirmed that he killed anybody for like a year. So I don't know. He's probably just busy with the
affair.
way the affairs. It was just a lot going on, you
The
know.
vegetables and the affairs.
That's right. That's right. So he did have a year between those first two victims, but uh then he
He
takes off.
he went wild.
Yep, because at this point he has 11 more victims. And
Well, plus he was telling about how he would strangle them and about how long it took. It was like 4 minutes to 8 minutes or something. And he was a big guy. You know, he got bigger and
Mhm.
bigger, but he had a lot of weight. He had a lot of strength. And one of them, he had said that, yeah, I strangled her with my left hand. Kind of like he was getting bored of doing it like with both hands. So this time, and then he was going to use his non-dominant hand and just, and that was easy, because he was talking about pressure points and stuff, just
Mhm.
like, whatever. Try my left hand this time.
Right, right. And once he starts again, they are all, so those 11 victims are all in 1989. All of them in one year.
That's a
So
lot
that's like
of
a
people.
month, basically. Yeah, because it was more than, yeah, I mean, he was,
And he was leaving them, I guess, was it in the river, because that's why they were calling him the Genesee Killer
yep, he was leaving him in the Genesee River.
all along.
And actually, so Marie Welsh, Frances Brown, Kimberly Logan, and Elizabeth Gibson, were all in November.
Ooh, busy
So
month. Well, plus, I mean, that in a way you could, it would make sense, but at the same time that's hunting season up there, so it's like, why would you take a chance of leaving a body out when there's hunters everywhere? They're going to find it, they're going to find them frozen in the river, they're going to see the body. So that was just really foolish to do that in the winter up there. I mean, that's, and I
well,
think all of them were in their 20s and 30s, except that one woman that was like, what was it, 59 or something? She was in
mhm.
her late 50s. So that was kind of an anomaly.
Let me look. I do have, yeah, that was Dorothy Keeler. Dorothy Keeler was actually the first victim after the little cool off period between the first two. So yeah, and then it went to all between 20s and 30. Yeah, they're all 20 to early 30s. Yeah. So, um, And then he also started, they knew he was visiting the bodies again because they had been, well, there was the one who was beheaded, there was the one who was eviscerated. Um, so they knew he was coming back to the body. So then when they, and I will give the police, the Rochester police props, they were taking this pretty seriously pretty quickly. I mean, we've seen with like a lot of these cases that if
Yeah,
you're
if they're sex workers, they usually don't pay attention, but this
right,
time they paid attention. This
they
time,
did.
because a lot of
And
these women, they might have been sex workers, but they also, a lot of them actually did have families. They did have people that reported them missing pretty quickly. So
yeah.
it wasn't just a lot of times like you might see today, someone that is, strung out on drugs, they're actually homeless. These are people that had kids, they had parents, they left their kid, they were going to pick up their child later and they didn't show up. Obviously, they're going
Hmm.
to report them missing. So,
Hmm. Yeah, um so they realize that he's returning to the bodies, so they decide, and I think because it was winter, they found it too hard to like navigate the river, so they decide they're gonna search with helicopters to see if they can. And sure enough, Doofus is on a bridge right over where I don't know which victim it was. I don't know if it was actually the last victim or not, but he was over the body admiring his handiwork, I guess.
taking a piss by the side of the road, had his
Yes.
passenger door open because when they approached him, he's like, "What?" He literally said, "What? I'm just taking a piss." But he was right over top of the body, which
Hmm.
was frozen in the water directly underneath the bridge. Because he said that he saw the helicopter,
Hmm.
and he was just like, "Well, that's odd," but he didn't think. And the helicopter, they saw the body frozen, and there he stands freezing his stuff. Good. And
Right.
then he actually claimed in the interview that he didn't really realize he wasn't thinking where he was, but I don't believe that.
Well, and it wasn't, I just found it wasn't the last victim, it was the second to last. So it was June Cicero that he had returned back to
Yeah, because
admire.
it was one they weren't expecting. They were looking for a different one, and then they were
Hmm.
like, "This is not. This is a different one. This is not the one we were looking for."
Right. So that he gets taken in. Um, and they end up connecting him through fibers on the body, tire tracks, witness observations, and that he had some of the jewelry that belonged to the
Yeah,
victim.
he had given his one of his girlfriends some of the jewelry from one of the deceased women, and then they took a photo of him and showed it to a lot of the sex workers, and they immediately were like, "Yeah, he's a regular." So
Hmm.
that proved the point right there. He definitely was who they were
And
looking
actually,
for.
and when they get all this information on him, he doesn't really fight it. I mean, during questioning, starts admitting to the murders. I mean, I think he thinks he has valid reasons. They're whatever, set him off. But he actually even he took the police to victims that hadn't been recovered yet, where
Now,
they
didn't
were.
they say that he had like some kind of issues performing as well, and that I'm sure that's what would set him off with the sex workers. If he was having
Yes.
trouble doing his stuff, he would take it out on them.
Yes. Yes.
So,
So,
because I believe one of his wives in one of the interviews was talking about that he had some sexual problems.
right. And I think it was during this trial that we now have the Vietnam PTSD, which
I blame the chickens. I blame the chickens.
those
That's why
chickens
he has sexual problems.
those chickens done him wrong.
Who knows what they pecked the. I don't even need
they,
to finish it.
they mocked him with their eyes and their
They did.
mouths
One of them
full,
was
their
like
beaks full.
crowing or something.
But he did go for insanity. He then this is when the mother and the essaying all came into play, that he played this up, that he had childhood trauma. He had brain abnormalities, which I do believe he had like three or four brain injury, like head injuries, but whatever. And gee,
Whatever.
like at this point,
Whatever.
whatever. I mean, that was a big Night Stalker one that he had a bunch of head injuries.
There's a lot of people walking around with head injuries that aren't out there killing people all the time. So
Exactly.
you can't use that. Now, there may not be a lot of people that were having romantic nights with chickens, but they were, you know, if they probably were killing people. But
The worst part is he's having romantic nights with gagging chickens.
killing the chicken, just the thought of the little beak and trying to shove it full of dirt so it'll be quiet. Why does the chicken have to be quiet?
Yeah,
It's
I
not
don't
like
know.
it's gonna tell what he's doing. Did it
Yeah, I
lay
don't know.
eggs? I don't even want to know.
But
Uh,
thankfully, none of these arguments worked. They actually said that, well, he's clearly not right.
but
Uh,
he can't be let loose.
and also he concealed the bodies. He deliberately knew what he was doing. So there was no, because he was trying to say he had these like essentially like blackout moments where he didn't know. Well,
Yeah,
you
he was
concealed the body.
moving the bodies too. There was one in one of the interviews. They were asking him, when you went out there and moved that body, why did you take the head and move it somewhere else? How did you get the head off? And he was like, I just picked it up. It was already off because he had already beheaded the person. And then when he moved the body somewhere else, I guess he moved the head somewhere else because I don't remember which one it was, but they found one of the bones or something that was headless.
Mm-hmm.
And they were trying to figure out where the head was. I don't know if they
Mm-hmm.
ever found the head or not,
Right.
but he was just like, I was already off.
Yep. You know, come on. That
What
was
did
just
he
a
do?
silly,
Heads fall
silly
off all
question.
the time.
He did treat it too like it was just the silliest
Yeah,
question you ever heard. He's like, it was
it was off.
off. Like,
Duh.
right, like you felt like you wanted to say duh afterwards. But they don't, his insanity defense does not work out for him. His genetic predisposition doesn't work for him. They don't care about his,
Chickens.
seeing red. They don't care about his chickens. The sheep didn't even factor in. Um, so fortunately
Many
now,
people with the sheep, I guess they're just like, that's not an excuse. This is farm country. We're not going to fall for
right. Well,
that.
so finally, this man, thankfully gets 250 years in prison. So he is in prison for life. But let's look back at this. So the arson was told that he would be homicidal. He needed massive therapy. Nothing happens. Didn't nothing. The parole didn't even keep track of him. Um, so then he murders these small children. And again, they give him a plea deal, manslaughter. That infuriates me so much. I can't even like why they didn't have to make a deal right there. They had no reason to make a deal. I
No.
mean, I understand that Jack's parents wanted to know where he was.
Yeah,
They
but
could have
not in
sat
exchange for him not being punished for it. I
right.
mean,
I would think that yeah. And then now he gets out and it's what four yeah 14 victims later. He finally gets arrested, but he doesn't even get to like die a horrific death, really, in my opinion.
it was
He
2008, right, when he died.
mm-hmm.
I don't know how. I know I read where he said he was complaining about leg pain, and they took him to, I guess, I don't know, the hospital or something. But I don't know what he died from. Was it
He
like a blood
died of
clot or something?
cardiac arrest. He died at 63. Yep, and that was it. That's the
I
end of
hope it
our.
hurt.
Yeah, I hope it hurt too. Um,
I hope it took a long time.
I mean,
Well, you
and
saw the looks of him. There's no way he wasn't a walking heart attack. I mean, oh
yeah,
my God. You can't carry that around on your chest and not have a heart attack. That was like carrying a cat. It was like carrying a sheep. He had his own sheep right here.
Well, and again, I mean, I'll just never get over how he ever stepped out of prison after the two children. I mean, that is just
I
such
don't know
a,
how the other inmates allowed him to live after the children.
it's true.
That
It's
blows
very true.
my mind. They must have kept him protected or something because
Well, and did you hear after the, I think it was the children, it when he first goes in, he's not doing well in there. Like they're not gonna, I mean, he's not gonna be paroled because he was not behaving himself and whatever. And then he started to realize that he had to play the game if he was even going to be considered. So like he finally got his GED, and I'm sure that took a good solid 6 years of his confinement. But like he started doing, and they actually believed that he was rehabilitated. I mean, that is
you
mind-boggling.
can't rehabilitate a sociopath. It's not possible. They always play the game until they get what they want, which is freedom, and then
Mhm.
they just pick it right back up.
And he didn't even, he picked it up the first year. I mean, it's unbelievable to me that they let him out. And that was a definite. I mean, there were so many times that law enforcement dropped the ball and the legal system dropped the ball. It was
Well,
like,
plus he was saying that it was so easy to kill people that it was just pretty much you make him mad, he's going to kill you. That's just it's just what it is. To
mm-hmm,
him, that's just the end result of you not behaving yourself to
mm-hmm,
standards, and then he's just going to kill you.
yep,
He said it was like, there was one, I can't remember what, it was the girl in the park with him. I think he said that she made him so mad because she was going to scream, and he said he just grabbed her and snapped her neck real quick.
yep,
That was like such a quick, I mean, he just reacted so fast with her.
yep. It's just terrifying. So, Missy, Missy, you're in trouble for scarring us for life because again, I'm kind of a, I mean, I guess you can't really compare, but I mean, like, I feel like with John, like doing having done John Wayne Gacy, I feel like the things that were missed made more sense because he worked really hard to fit in. You know, he might have been a complete egotistical whatever, but there are people who respond to that kind of like, well, he must be really good at this because, whatever. So he had sort of built this community, and this guy had nothing redeeming. He did nothing redeeming his whole entire existence. He
It's
was a
like
total.
apples and oranges or sheep and chickens. That one's never going to get old right
The,
there.
the, uh, these gagging animals, gagging farm animals. But yeah, I don't know. I just there was nothing redeeming about this man. He never did a good thing in his entire life. Like
Never,
it
never.
was never a success. Like I said, I mean, John Wayne Gacy, at least you could say,
Was a businessman.
right. And for whatever it was worth, some people seem, I mean, he was in the JCs and stuff, so he was fitting in. This guy couldn't fit in anywhere. I mean, think about the camaraderie you have going to war. And I bet you $1 million, other than he was a weirdo, nobody remembered him, and he remembered nobody. Like,
Yeah, he was just in that storage building or storage hut counting the food and writing making tally marks. That's all he did all day. He was a clerk. Everyone
yeah,
else was out there fighting and getting wounded and dying, and he's in there just making tally marks.
and creating his fictional I'm a
War hero
hero. Yeah, I mean,
eating the leg or arm of the Vietnamese women.
I know he's just everything about him was repulsive. So I'm Missy. I would love to hear like what you remember your family talking about with this, and because that was certainly very close to home. Obviously, if you had name,
Yeah.
you was did you say it was
I think
cousin?
she said her. I think she said that they had lived next door to his nieces and nephews, so pretty close.
That's crazy.
I
So
want
yes,
to
I actually had not heard of Arthur. I mean, I'm shocked because I do love me some true crime. And I didn't remember this story at all. So,
I only remember watching the Pierce Morgan interview with him and thinking, what a odd, quirky man. But then I
mm-hmm,
never really watched the documentaries to see all the stuff he had done. And it was like, oh,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But all right, we're kind of I'm still sticking with the smoke excuse. I'm kind of a little subdued this time. I will tell you, I'm thinking we've had a lot of requests, and I need to get things organized. We had a lot of requests for aliens. I think
and
maybe we,
the
I think,
aliens.
I think we need a little change of.
Baseman.
Yes, exactly. And then you need to
I got my
share your space travels.
space.
Yeah, so I think after our next case, which is going to be another, and I do think this applies into stranger danger, especially for those poor little kids. But next week is going to be another case of stranger danger where you never even figure out who the hell the stranger
It's
is.
an odd one. It's
It's an
odd.
and it's not a super in-depth case, but it is just one that I think people will really enjoy in the comments speculating about why they think it happened, who they think would have done it. So anyway, I do feel like we're kind of cutting this one a little short, but whew, I'm gonna make Vin get rid of my dark circles under my eyes because I'm looking rough right now. I'm looking tired. But
Here's
and
some
also
water.
I need coconut
You
water.
need okay. Put it on your wish list.
Maybe whatever happened to the good old days when you could get pep pills just anywhere. I need some pep pills, whatever they were.
Those
They were
were
more than they were actually like amphetamines. They were just
those are illegal drugs, Kathy. You're not allowed to buy those at the gas station anymore.
I need a mother's little helper. Was that I think that was Valium.
Coca Cola.
It was back in the day when you could just have some Coca-Cola and go for hours. Um, but anyway, we hope you do you say enjoyed this? There's nothing enjoyable about this man. He is a nice.
Sleep well.
Yeah.
Not dream of chickens or sheep. What
See,
can you
on that,
say? What can you say about this one? Yeah, we're sorry.
we're sorry. That's exact. We're sorry. This man's gross. And if you get a chance, actually, if we were organized, we could put probably a link to a photo of him in the
Oh,
show.
I'll stick a photo of his nasty self on here. You can see what I'm talking about. How gross.
Yes. Like what were those boudoir photo places that what were those called? Glamour shots.
Yeah,
Can you
the
do a glamour shot of old Arthur and a chicken for us?
I'll see what I can do. They'll never forget it. On that note,
Yeah, on that note, we hope you all have a good evening. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share. Follow us on Spotify if you can, just to get us some attention over there. And there you can actually rate us. So you can here it's kind of a follow and comment. Uh, but on Spotify you can actually rate us. So give us a nice high rating. And we're gonna be getting the more of those up. I'm gonna be on it. I'm gonna be on it to do a lot of weird. I have to. It turns out we have to do some converting because it's trying to tell us that that music doesn't work. So yeah, so I don't get it. But um, anyway, have a good night and sleep well, maybe.
bye.